Hey everyone, happy Monday and welcome to Season 3 of the Parent Podcast. I hope you had an amazing time of worship this weekend with our church family here at ABC. I'm Josh, I'm the youth pastor here at Acton Baptist, and I want to thank you for joining me on your drive, your lunch break, or just that time you set aside for this each week. So, without further ado, let's get to it. We're finishing up our conversation on conversation today. I hope this month has given you some tips to keep the conversations going with your teens. I know that one of the hardest things to do as a parent is to balance the line between trying to be friendly with our kids and being the authority. And I do want to point out that I said being friendly, not being friends. I absolutely love my child, but she doesn't need a friend, she needs a dad. I don't know what your situation was growing up. I love my dad and the way that he raised me. But he raised 4 boys, and here I am in the life of a girl dad. If I say something the way my dad would tell me, words I meant to help can really hurt. So, in light of that, today I want to say one very simple, important rule in communication with your teenager. And I'm going to say it nice and slow so we can't glance over it. Only your kid is your kid. I see characteristics of myself and my child, sure, but she isn't me. She doesn't have the same outlook on things that my life experience has brought me to. She hasn't had to deal with some of the heartache that I've dealt with. She hasn't seen success in areas that she doesn't see herself in yet. I can push and push and push, but I need to realize that I can't say something that makes sense to me and just expect her to completely understand what I'm saying. It is so hard to communicate when I think I'm being listened to, only to find out that I was just heard. Our kids can hear our statements to them and not hear the heart behind what we're saying. I guess that each of us can remember key times on either side of that spectrum. Our kids do exactly what we told them not to do, even though we knew it was for their good. But when we told them, all they heard was a suggestion and not a warning. And on the other side, when you and your kid have a heart-to-heart, and they fully understand what you're getting at, and they ask questions, and they gain understanding, and they hold on to it like that advice is the most precious thing you've ever offered them. You know, my wife and I were driving a few weeks back, and our daughter was in the back seat. We had just had dinner with a previous youth of mine, and he was talking about some things with his parents. And as he's gotten older, he was realizing that some of the warnings his parents put into place actually were paying off. So my daughter, from the back seat of the car, starts asking questions. Questions about some things that I found to be true from what my parents said and what my wife's parents said. We had about 45 minutes of our child trying to understand, simply because she was able to hear that parents might actually know what they're talking about sometimes. I bring that story up simply to do this. I want to encourage you. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. But someday, your kids are going to realize that you know a thing or two about life. In that conversation we were able to have with our daughter, we talked about Christ, we talked about faith, we talked about her growing up understanding what Jesus wants from each of us. And that's all because we were able to take the time and help her understand. Now, I could tell her all day long all the things that Christ has commanded us to do. But a command with no love behind it is dry. The ability to have those conversations, to be able to show Christ's love to my child while making sure she knows that he commands things of us because he loves us and is guiding us, those are the best days in parenting. So parents, keep fighting the good fight with your kids. Keep having the easy conversations. Don't be afraid of the hard conversations. And fight for understanding. Fight for your faith. And guide your teens in the love and the guidance that Christ provides. So a few announcements before we finish up today. It is that time of year where we reset our Remind texting service. Our old Parent Remind is closing this Sunday, and we'll be communicating only through the 2024-25 listing. So head to actonbaptist.com/youth and click the link in the Parent Center to register. This Wednesday begins our fall semester here at ABC, and if you and your family intend to eat dinner at the church that begins at 5 o'clock, make sure to register for meals by Tuesday at noon. You can find the registration link on the church's Facebook page and at actonbaptist.com/events. Then after dinner, our youth midweek gathering begins at 6. And to do something a bit special and also give myself an opportunity to do some cleaning, we're going to be saying goodbye to 2 of our old couches by strapping some wheels on them and racing them in the back parking lot. On counsel from my very smart wife, we will also have some helmets so our more accident-prone students don't get hurt. So I can't wait for our kids to be here. We're going to be opening up scripture together, laughing together. It's going to be a great fall semester. I also want to plug our marriage enrichment class, Re-Engage. If you and your spouse are looking for a Bible study on Wednesdays while your teen is in youth, I cannot recommend a better solution. Re-Engage meets upstairs at 6 o'clock and lets out at the same time as youth midweek gathering, so you don't have to worry about any time constraints either. And then finally, our fall calendar is available in the youth room. You can also grab a copy of it on our Facebook page, and our first fall event will be Saturday, September 7th. We'll be heading to Cidercade in Fort Worth for an afternoon of arcade games. The cost is $15, and as with all of our youth events, parents, you are more than welcome to attend. Make sure to head over to actonbaptist.com/youth to register your child so I know how many are going. Thank you so much for listening today. Know that I'm always praying for you and your family. If you haven't already, make sure to follow our social media accounts on Facebook and on Instagram by searching for AB Youth Min. Also, go ahead and share our podcast so our reach can go out that much further. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you here at Acton Baptist and on the Parent Podcast next